Hello, everyone. Thanks for dropping by and checking things out here at Happenings in the Dearborn Public Schools, the place where we talk about all those great things that happen in our district. It's a big district, so there's a lot to talk about. I'm David Mustonen, Director of Communications, and joining me, as always, our Superintendent. How are you?
Doing very well, David. Good to see you.
Yeah,
May month of the year. You know,
yeah, busy time. You know,
yes.
When May, June, these shows always kind of air different times, but May, June, always busy for us in a good way.
Very, very good way. Very positive, energy on all over the schools, lots of ceremonies. It's a fantastic time of year, the best time of year, actually.
Excellent, excellent.
Yeah.
Joining us today are a couple of folks who are going to help us. We are going to talk alphabet soup here. We love our acronyms here in education, and a couple of folks who are going to help us break down one of those great acronyms we like to use. Joining us from Salina, Sue Stanley, principal. How are you?
I'm well. Thanks for inviting me.
Oh, glad that you could make it. And from McDonald Elementary, Amy Modica. Amy, how are you?
I'm good.
Good, good. The school that people, when they call and they ask me about our schools and I tell them, yes, we have a McDonald's, they go, no, I don't want food. I wanted to know about what schools you have. And I said, no, we have a McDonald school. And I always have to explain that. So I think that's always kind of fun.
Yes, it is, yes.
Yeah, along with our acronyms you mentioned, we do, as educators, sometimes we do get into so we're going to try to cut around some of that. But I know as principals, a lot of times we get into the acronyms and we catch ourselves, and then we're with parents and we say, okay, well, this is what this means, this is what it is, and we try not to talk. But MTSS, all right, can we maybe break that down, and what does that mean?
Okay, I'm happy to start with that. MTSS stands for Multi-Tiered System of Support. And as you know, with kids nowadays, and really with kids forever, everybody has different learning needs and different styles. And so teachers want and need as much support as possible so that our students can reach their academic goals. So whether a student may not be making the progress that we hope to see, or a student is a high achiever, or has other issues that might be impeding their academic success, there is a system of support set up so that teachers can come in and meet with other professionals and talk about what they can do.
In this system, there's 3 tiers. There's tier 1 where all students fall under. And that's just, how can we get them to the next level? How can we take their goals and make them reach them? Tier 2 is where the teacher is implementing interventions to get them to the steps they need to. They might be behind grade level. They might be having behavioral concerns. So they come and they talk to our special ed staff, our ELL staff. All of our staff comes together and we think, discuss about what is the best for this child. And then tier 3 is when we really look into, we've given interventions, we've done all of the things we think we can do to make them succeed, and they're still struggling. So now what do we need to do on the special education side of it?
So it's really a system where you come together, you're brainstorming ideas. So if a parent or, parents could be part of the discussion
They're
as
an
well.
important part, right.
And I heard you say, you said ELL, English language learners. So they, you might have support that is needed there. We know that we've had a lot of students exit the ELL department, but we've also have more that have come in as we've had immigrants and other students. So we have to have systems in place for that. So this is in every school, right? And it's being coordinated, kind of the system is coordinated on a district level. Is that my understanding? Do you want to explain how that?
I do. And last year, when you put the teams together for this strategic plan, I know MTSS was one that's important because it's always evolving. It's been around for a long time, but every year it gets better and better, and it is in every school. There's also an expectation that we meet every week. So there is, and that team consists of the school psychologist, special ed teacher, social worker, the resource teacher from the bilingual department or the EL department, and the principal and the teacher. And we come together to be thought partners and to work shoulder to shoulder to see. I've got children in my classroom that aren't making the progress that I want to see, as we discussed before. And so we look at one thing, what's the one area that we can work on so that we can support the teacher so that child can be successful. And so every week we meet with groups of teachers, usually 2 teachers a week, to see how they're doing, and then we also plan for a follow-up too. So it's offering the teacher as much support as possible.
So you always have that classroom teacher on the team as well.
Always.
I mean, they're an important part, if not maybe the most important.
Absolutely,
all are
yeah,
important.
because it belongs to the teacher. And so we are really conscious of the fact that there is ownership, that is the teacher's classroom. And so we're going in to help support that classroom teacher with that. And then with that, besides the team that I mentioned, the parent component is really important as well.
So if a parent has a concern or a teacher does, they have a team of professionals that can come together. So they can reach out to the teacher, a parent could, or the teacher could say, look, there's some things that are just not going well, or we need some additional support, and then you bring in the team, now known as the MTSS. At one point, another acronym, it used to be called an RTI.
Yes, it did.
Response to intervention.
Yes,
So
it
we said ELL, we might as well keep going for more.
That's
right.
Let's see how
I
many
got
we
my
can
bingo
do.
card out here,
David,
so
keep
every
track,
time you get one, yeah.
So we have the classroom teacher, we have the coach for the building or the reading interventionist usually there. Anybody who is an essential part of that student's life really needs to be a part of this team. And the first session is really just talking about where they're at, where they need to be at, what supports we can give them within the classroom to make them succeed. The parents are definitely a huge part of that at home. When they go home, they need to know what goals they're working on. They need to know how we're trying to meet the goals. And we look at the data of the entire student as a team. So it's all those mindsets coming together to come up with the most efficient plan.
So, it sounds like it's very, research-based. It's a
Yeah,
model where
absolutely.
multiple people are coming together and really to help and support students. And then, assuming that, we're looking at our different scores and how students are achieving that channels into growth for the student. And that really would be the ultimate goal, that they're successful. So let's say we have a teacher or a staff, obviously there could be times where, look, as a parent, we know it's an energy-on thing to be with children. I can
Right.
think of going to kindergarten, and I love visiting, but it's energy-on all the time.
is.
So you need to have this high-level energy, and at times maybe there can be some frustration on if things aren't working. So it sounds like the teacher's not alone. This is a place to go to
Yes.
get support and help. The principal's a part of it.
Absolutely. And I think what I want to mention too is it's a very structured meeting. And so before, when we were talking about, honoring the teacher and the teacher's voice, what we try to do in the MTSS meetings, the only voices that are in the room at that time, it's the teacher and the school psychologist. And it's the school psychologist asking questions. And it's an interview, so that we're the listeners for the very first time, which is really important, because we need to listen really carefully about what the teacher's saying, what they're noticing in the classroom. And the school psychologist then guides that question. So I think that's the other thing that's very supportive and very helpful for the teacher. They know, in the end, the teacher goes back to the classroom and it's on her or him. But it's really, so that's why it's important that we listen to the voice, but also then to know that, well, it's on you. We've got the support that we're going to be able to help you and teach you these strategies too.
So they have input into that process too. So it's not like someone comes up with a list, gives it to the
No.
teacher, gives it to the parent. Now the parent might have input, but there might be some things for the parents to get involved too, right? That could
Absolutely.
be helpful, whether it be at home or after school or other areas.
And an at-home, almost like an at-home plan. Here's our school plan, this is what our at-home plan is. Let's work together to make sure that we're doing what's best for your child. The other thing that's important is, yes, the teacher is the one providing the daily instruction and the extra intervention for them, but they also have that team that was in that initial meeting to feed off of and say, okay, this worked, what can I do to make it, progress it to the next level? And then after that initial meeting, we always follow up with a follow-up meeting. And usually we give about 6 to 8 weeks for the intervention, depending on the size of the school. And then we come back and we tweak the plan and say, okay, this worked and they made it to the level they were supposed to. And now what do we do to get to the next step? And then, again, we would inform the parent, hey, this is the next step. We're going to move things along here. So it's just all of us working together as one system to
Really is.
create the
It's a-
best plan.
It is. It's a lot like the medical model, and that's what we all talk about. You know, you go to your general practitioner. Sometimes we need to bring in the specialists. And when we do, we get together and we brainstorm what is the best resource? What's the newest research? What are some other strategies it's the collaboration, which is so important.
And I would imagine it fits in nicely with the learning community model.
It does.
It does.
And
In the My Learning Plan, it fits in nicely because really you're looking at the goals for the academic goals for the student and saying, what can we do to reach this? So it kind of it goes together, and then the child saying, okay, well, this is what we're doing academically, but what am I going to do personally so they feel successful too?
So I know you've been on some of the school improvements, the My Learning Plan. Every student in Dearborn Schools has a plan, individualized plan of goals, academic and personal. And sometimes I know it might be, look, maybe it's just one area. Maybe it's a reading, and maybe they're strong in math. Maybe they're strong in a different area, or maybe they have a gift in an art or something and use that to
Yes.
kind of channel.
I'm glad you mentioned that because it's important to know that when we start the meetings, we always start on the students' strengths. It's never what they don't know. The question always goes, tell me what they know and what their strengths are, because that's not only how you engage children, but that's how you help them improve, is you work on those strengths, and then everything else really falls into place.
Just one more question. If you were a parent then and you felt like there's some struggle, your child is struggling, what would you recommend who should they contact and what should they do?
The first person they should contact is their classroom teacher because that classroom teacher knows the child the best. And talk to the classroom teacher about what they can do at home and how they can take school home and work on what they're working on at school. Then that classroom teacher would then come to the administrator and say, hey, this is what I'm doing with this parent. And then the administrator would say, okay, let's continue on, or maybe we need to take them to MTSS. Now, it might not be as far as that. It might just be a little learning curve, and so then it doesn't need to come to MTSS. So we kind of just say give it some time, but definitely the first person the parent should contact is the teacher because they know their child.
And if I could add on to that, I think as a parent, sometimes they think, oh, I don't want to bother the teacher, or maybe they're doing fine, or this. I guess we always want to say, no matter what, as the parent, teachers, we're here to help. So any question that you have about how your child is doing, academically, socially, how they're relating with peers, that's what we're here for. And teachers want to have that communication with the parents. So, we really want parents to reach out to teachers if they feel they have a question that is not answered.
Right. Well, it sounds like just one of many tools that we have available for our teachers to help our students and continue with that, putting students first and helping them to inspire them, educate them, and then eventually celebrate with them when they do well.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Great. Well, thank you for stopping by and unraveling one of those acronyms for us that we love to use. We appreciate that.
Great.
So David, maybe we'll have to go out for lunch and I'll teach you some more of these acronyms.
We'll order some alphabet soup.
Yeah.
There you go.
Whenever I scoop
That'll
it
work.
out, I'll just look, and whatever letters end up in my spoon, we'll see
That's a great idea.
We have a lot. We have a
we
lot.
have one, so, well, but that's always good to spend a few moments to kind of sift through all of that and get it right. So, thank you again for joining us, Glenn. Thank you once again.
Thank you.
Really
Thank you.
great episode.
Thank you, our pleasure.
All right. Thank you for stopping by, visiting with us for a few minutes as we talk about all those great things that are happening in the Dearborn Public Schools.